Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. It's good to be back again. Thank you all so much for joining us. I cannot wait to dive into all the content that we have for you today, and we've got a ton. We've got some good stuff. I've got a great presentation planned for you guys, and we're going to have tons of useful information. So we're going to wait just a second. We're going to let others sort of trickle in on the call. If you're anything like me, you will probably all have calls that are back to back all day, so you're perpetually late to the next call. So for the folks who have already joined, we're going to get started in just a second. For everyone else, like as you're hopping on, I wanted to go through a little housekeeping and make sure that everyone was comfortable with the GoToWebinar question box feature. It's over to the side in the GoToWebinar panel. That question box feature is essentially going to be our chat for the day. So you'll be able to see all of, you'll be able to enter in your responses. I'll be able to see any of your questions, and then we'll be able to address those in the live Q&A later. So you won't be able to chat back and forth with any of the other attendees, but think of the question box as your chat feature. So I'd love for us to get started and get comfortable with that. Let's kick off and start with an easy question, a softball. Let's say hello and let me know where you're calling in from today. One of my favorite things about these webinars is that they connect people from all different corners of the world, and everyone's here for just one common goal. We're here for the same thing, and that's to improve our marketing. So it's really neat that we can all be so different and from all different places, but we all have that one goal. So find the question box, put in there where you're calling in from today. I love to see all of the different places, and I love to see how close or far away I am from people. For example, I am in Louisiana. I am based out of North Louisiana. I was born and raised here. So let me know where you are calling in from. I'd love to see all of it. Oh gosh, tons of responses. Okay, this is fun. We've got Victoria from Delaware. I see Ohio, Kim from Michigan, Scottsdale, Arizona, Connecticut, NYC, Jersey, California, Houston, Texas. I've got a neighbor, all right. Virginia Beach, South Carolina, some more from Ohio. Oh, this is awesome. Awesome. We've got Georgia, Wisconsin, more California. This is great. Oh, this is a lot of fun. I see some more Michigan, Cincinnati, Charleston. You guys are getting ready for the hurricane, right? I think. I hope everyone's going to be safe. Hope you have all of your snacks. New York. I see Austin. Sarah from Mississippi. Awesome. Yay. All right. So keep putting your locations in there. Find that question box. Let me know where you're calling in from. Canada. Welcome. Tons of people typing in right now. I'd love to go and call out everyone, but if you haven't noticed, we've got a lot that we got to cover. But as I was calling out all those different places, you could probably catch on that it's from all over. You've got people from the South, the East, we've got Canada. It's crazy how everybody from all these different locations with all of your different types of businesses and goals, that we could all come to the same place today and work to improve our marketing. So that's what I love about these. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so with all of that being said, let's kick off with a couple more housekeeping items. So for everyone on the call, please note that this is going to be recorded. I saw a question come in earlier. Yes, it is recorded. We will share the slides. Those will be in your inbox later on, and you'll be able to share those out with your teams. So don't feel like you need to frantically take notes or anything like that. You'll get everything in your inbox later, and that includes the slides and the recording. And note, all of our recordings can be easily found either on WordStream or Local IQ YouTube channels. They're in both places. So you would just navigate over to YouTube, type in Local IQ or WordStream, and you would click on one of our channels, and then you'd be able to see all of our past webinar recordings right there. And if you want to catch up on any of our older ones, or maybe view this one later and maybe you can't find the link, that's where you can go to find them. Also, the reason that I have everyone practice using that question box, again, is because I want you to feel comfortable with it because that's going to act as our chat feature for our live Q&A later. So be sure to stick around for that, and be sure to throw your questions in, and we'll be able to get to them later. Again, it's going to be a great hour. It's going to go by really fast because we have a ton of stuff to go over. So as you're thinking of things, or as you have questions pop to your mind, throw them in that question box, and then we'll be able to get to those later on. All right, before we go any further, I want to get everybody on the same page of who Local IQ is. So some of you might already be working with us, and that's awesome. I'm happy that you're here. And then some of you might be totally new. This is your first webinar, or maybe your first interaction. That's great too. And then some of you, maybe you came in through some of our content, or you downloaded a white paper off of our WordStream by Local IQ site. So how does all of that fit together? So Local IQ is what is known as a fully integrated growth marketing platform. And we put together innovative tech that you really can't find anywhere else, and unparalleled expertise and service. And it's all to give your business what it needs to thrive and prosper. So how exactly do we do that? Well, technology is at our core. Our platform runs on what's called optimization technology and AI, and it's informed by more than 1 million Local IQ campaigns. So you're not going to be able to find this tech anywhere else. We have all of the tools that you need all in one place. So we give you everything at your fingertips to make the daily task of marketing a lot faster. So this puts time back into your business. You can manage your teams rather than focusing all that attention on all of the things that marketing requires. And finally, we have been in the marketing game for over 15 years, which, if you think about the age of digital marketing, is really not much older than that. So we've been through it all. We've seen it all the ups and downs, the shifts in the landscapes and the platforms, and we're here to tell the story, and all to the benefit of your business. And then one thing that we're really proud of is that we are premier partners with all major advertising platforms. This isn't something that is just granted to any marketing platform out there. It is really only given to businesses that display clear campaign success for their customers, display thought leadership within the field, and meet a rigorous set of requirements for each one of those platforms. So we're really proud of those. All right, so who am I? A little bit about me. I'm going to be your host today. My name is Katie. Here at Local IQ, I work closely with our teams on digital marketing, and for the last 10 plus years, I've worked in one capacity or another in digital marketing, equipping sales teams, agencies, individual business owners, you name it, with everything that they need to succeed. So, and if you couldn't tell by my accent, and if you joined a little later, I am in the southern US in Louisiana, but I always tell people I'm not in the fun part of Louisiana. I'm about 5 hours north of New Orleans. All right, so now that we all know each other, before we dive in, the last couple of things I want to mention are around some really common questions that we get on these webinars, and it's where can we learn more about the topics that we cover here? I said it a second ago, this time's going to fly by. We have so much to cover. So if you ever feel like you need more time to really just sit with any of the topics that we covered today, or that we've covered on past webinars, highly recommend that you go over to Local IQ or WordStream websites. We cover everything in our webinars in depth over there, as well as on social media. So be sure to follow us there. And there's tons of free resources, guides, blogs, lots of information to help you out. We also share out notifications for future events. So if you want to join more webinars in the future, definitely be sure to follow us and then turn on your post notifications. We also share out platform updates, interesting articles, and all sorts of other info that advertisers and business owners and agency owners that you should all be aware of. So you can find us Local IQ specifically on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. And then you can find WordStream on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and YouTube. All right, pop quiz time. So if you have attended any of our webinars in the past, you know that we'd love to keep everybody on their toes around here. So to warm you up on the topic today, I'm going to hit you up with this pop quiz. I want you to type into that question box and let me know, what is your favorite strategy? What's your favorite channel that you feel brings your business the best results. And when I say the best results, I don't mean just conversions, because those conversions could come at a very different cost. Think holistically. Which channels do you have the most success with overall? And when you're thinking of channels, think of things like organic social marketing, so a Facebook post or an Instagram post, paid social ads, so the Facebook or Instagram ads, search ads, the ads that you see at the top of a search results page, like on Google, SEO, video ads, email, traditional media. There's tons of traditional media that's still very effective, or maybe something else I haven't even named, something cool I don't even know about yet. What have you tried? Did it work? Did it not work? I just want everybody to sort of get their head in the game and get us thinking about this topic before we dive in, because there's a lot of different ways to advertise, not just social. All right, so I see some great answers. Facebook, YouTube, yes, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really popular. We'll talk about that today. Word of mouth. You cannot go wrong with good old-fashioned word of mouth. And it's fun to see the different ways that you can generate word of mouth through a digital lens these days. Facebook videos, Google paid search, great. Google search ads, they're easy, especially for service businesses. I completely agree. Instagram, Reels, great. Okay, so we've got a good group of folks who have a mix of all kinds of different channels that they've used before. I see some more word of mouth. Okay, so now that we have a good pulse check on everybody, so you've noticed that there were a lot of the same answers, but they're also really varied, especially the types of businesses. And that's because each platform and each business is so unique. So your business, this is meant to help you with your teams and your bandwidth. So as we go through the topic today, be thinking about how all of this can apply to the ads that you're running. Maybe you're an agency and you're working with individual clients. Think about how it could help your unique situation and your specific business goals. And then at the end of the day, just know that everyone's going to have a different experience, but we'll have some tidbits along the way that can help you no matter what. First up, let's do a quick agenda. We're going to warm up with the bird's eye view of the most popular social media platforms, and then we'll discuss some tips for each of those. Then we're going to dive into Facebook specifically. We'll go over general best practices, we'll talk about specific tips, and it's all going to be about taking just a click and making it a lead, something highly valuable that can convert for you. And then we'll finish up with some thought starters. All right, let's get started. So now it's time to take a look at all of the social media platforms. And when I say all of, this is a small slice, but it's also a lot to take in. I know that. So take a deep breath, sit back. I'm going to sit here for a second so you can absorb everything. Okay, so while a lot of us are familiar with maybe a couple of these, and maybe you're personally using some of them or maybe all of them, very few people really do use all of them. So again, it's a lot of information to absorb, not to mention that's a lot of apps to manage. This is in no way all of the social platforms that are available. This is just an image from our WordString blog, and it features the most prominent platforms. But again, know that I'm not saying that these are the only social platforms that are available or that even that should be considered. There's Reddit, and then there's others that are on the rise that you can try out. But we have really in-depth information on these platforms in particular because they're so popular from a user perspective. And they present a ton of opportunities for your business. So as I go through this, just know that you can find this image on our blog, and a friendly reminder, again, that this is recorded and you'll have the slides in your inbox. But this recording will be on YouTube and you can reference it whenever. And again, I'm taking my time right now and I'm going to kind of sit here for a second just so that you can read over this and absorb some of the information, get some info on the platforms that maybe you care about the most or one that interests you that you haven't used before. It can be overwhelming, but in further slides, we'll take a deeper look at some of these. So these could all be viable for your business. They all have really great paid and organic options. So when you're talking about these strategies and we're going over these options today, a lot of people wonder which one's better. And we'll go through each one of them shortly, but you can start to see the differences. For example, X is better for ads. If you're going to have a lot of organic content, you're going to want to do Instagram. If you have limited marketing budget, it really doesn't mean that you have to cut and that you can't be a part of every one of these. It just means that you have to be more strategic. We don't expect you to pay a ton to be across all of these. That's not realistic. It's not a smart marketing decision. You really need to hone in and pivot your budget to fit these platforms based on your business, your audience, your goals. All of those things are going to be key when picking where to show up. So next, I'm going to show you another image that's very similar to this, but don't worry, because I break it down in the following slides and you'll get a couple of options. All right, again, very similar content as before, but in a little easier way to take in.
Katie,
and I see that a couple of people
sorry to interrupt, Katie.
Yeah.
We're just having some problems with the slides. Can you just unpause the slide? We're just on the first slide here.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Man,
thank
all
you.
you had was my voice and the first slide. I am so sorry about that. Okay, we're back in business. That's why I have help on here, because I'll just jump in and get going. So everybody should be seeing my slide right now. It's around social media marketing platforms. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that you are able to get the recording and the slides for the table that we had earlier. It has a lot of the same information that this second slide does. Oh, good. I see confirmation that people can see the slides now. Wonderful. All right. So again, this is just a snapshot of the most prominent platforms. This one in particular goes over the cons, because you can talk a lot about the benefits of a platform, which is great, but you also really need to keep in mind things to avoid, because that could cause an issue for your business. So for example, if you are really struggling with organic reach, you're just not getting a lot of engagement or views on your organic post, then you might not want to spend a lot of time on your Facebook organic post. You might want to focus more on Facebook ads. So you want to increase your visibility, get users to your page, and then you can start to see your organic get a little better. And so you can dig in more here, but I actually do break this all out. I break each one out on the next slide. So you'll see it again, even if you didn't see it the first time when I was just talking. All right, so let's take a closer look platform by platform. All right, so at the top of our list is one of the biggest players, of course, Instagram. So I'm going to hold Facebook until later, like I said, because we're going to take a deep dive into that platform since it just has so many users, so much engagement. But for now, keep in mind, in my experience, Instagram is usually a really great opportunity if you're trying to pre-plan your content. It's really good for business owners or agency owners, and you're busy, because you can schedule these posts. It's really easy to sort of plan out your content. It makes it very efficient for you. So when you want to be posting, you're trying to up that engagement, you can make sure that those posts are pre-programmed and ready to go within this platform. So you can pre-plan any of your posts, ad copy, any of the creative, all of that stuff ahead of time. It makes it really easy. And we actually do have a social media marketing calendar template that can be easily found for free on our Local IQ website. So be sure to check that out. It can help you plan your posts pretty easily, and it includes a free template. Especially because Instagram is so visually led, you really need to have a very tightened up creative strategy. So you can leverage tools like Canva or even a marketing partner to create those visuals for you. So these are just ideas to help your business stand out from the crowd, since we know that these are highly saturated spaces. And then speaking of saturation in the space, if you're not already, you are going to want to be analyzing your competition on Instagram. Because it has so many users, you can pretty much guarantee your competitors are on there, and you're going to want to be where they are so you can see what they're doing. So after this webinar, run to your competitor's page on Facebook or Instagram and see what they're promoting. see what kinds of posts they're putting out there. It's not the same type of content that we're used to seeing from these platforms, especially when they first debuted. There are reels, there's live stories, video posts, carousel ads, product shopping ads. I mean, the list goes on and on. So check it out when you can to get ideas and inspiration of your own. You obviously don't want to directly copy anything that your competitors are doing, but you want to be aware of what they're doing and you want to take notes so that maybe you can do it differently. And then talking about things to be aware of, we talked about it just a little bit a second ago. Be aware of your target market. I say this all the time. And do I think that you guys don't know what your target market is or you haven't thought about them? No. Well, I know that you guys know your target customers like the back of your hand, but there are always more ways to dig in and think outside the box. So there are endless targeting options within Instagram ads, or even if you're boosting an organic post. So that's why knowing this target market is really important. There are tons of ways that you can cross-layer your targeting parameters so you can hone in on a certain audience. So for example, let's say that you're a higher ed business like a university or a college, and you're running a recruitment strategy. So if you're looking to boost enrollment for your undergrad programs, you're likely looking for a young adult in about their 20s or younger. They're hanging out at live music venues, they're at sporting games, things like that. Those are the types of audiences that you could cross-target to promote the university and get awareness. So think about that in terms of your business. What's your audience? How would you target them here? Next up is X, formerly Twitter. I think that a lot of people who forget about the options that we have when they think of what used to be Twitter, but now X, people forget what's available there. So similar to how I talked about how many ad type options you have available on Instagram, tweets have come a really long way. If anyone remembers the early days, tweets were pretty basic, but now you can include anything like links, images, even videos in your tweets. So try to build out your tweets a little more and not just the basics. There's just a lot more that you can do. There are tons of different ad formats that I think people just forget about because they think of X or Twitter as something different. They also have carousel ads the same way that Instagram does. So if you find a successful format on a different platform, see if you can use that on X, and it might be just as successful, and maybe you're not working as hard. You can duplicate some of that content. Also, hashtags. Hashtags are a go-to to help tweets get more visibility, and I think a lot of businesses forget this. So I just wanted to remind you of that. We actually have an updated 2025 marketing calendar guide coming out next month, and we always include a laundry list of hashtags. They're based on seasonality, special occasions, holidays, or just general hashtags that can help you get found more easily. So be on the lookout for that coming next month. Again, I know X isn't always the first thought for a lot of businesses, but it can still be really beneficial to a lot of folks out there. So there's a huge user base, just keep it in mind. And then TikTok, of course, is a new platform that probably nobody's ever heard of. And by that, I'm completely joking because I'm sure you're all sick and tired of hearing about TikTok at this point, but it is something that can't be avoided anymore, and everyone wants to be on TikTok. The reason why is because there's this huge user base that continues to grow, and there are tons of things to do on there, like leveraging an influencer for marketing. If you're a business, there's just a lot of options that are available on TikTok now. So for example, if you are thinking to yourself right now, there is no way I'm doing a TikTok dance in front of my phone to promote my business. I hear you. I get it. I wouldn't either. But there are other things that you can do to still be active on TikTok and get your business out there. So unless it could be leaning into a local influencer who can do the TikTok dance for you, or you can create ads or maybe partner with another small business. Lots of opportunity, lots of options there. So the basics of what we've seen that works so far with businesses on TikTok is short and sweet. We know our attention spans are sadly dwindling and probably getting worse and worse, but But since TikTok is based on short form video, you really need to pack a punch within just a few seconds. People are quickly scrolling through their feeds. And if your video isn't catching someone's attention within just a few seconds, they'll keep on scrolling past you. So keep your videos as short and to the point as possible. This will really help you. And then make sure your message is really clear and it's up front so you can hook that audience immediately. Also, I know it's not realistic for all of us to be doing the dances or the latest trends. And so in that same spirit, I want us to be authentic in this space and not force it. So since this is a really saturated platform, users can just know from a mile away if your business is trying to fit into a trend that doesn't match your values or it doesn't fit your lifestyle or what you're promoting. So you don't have to go chasing trend after trend after trend, but a simple behind the scenes video of your business might be more authentic and really just as effective, maybe even more so because it is so authentic. Another great way is you can use customer testimonial videos. This is an awesome way. While you don't necessarily have to have a ton of trends to be successful, you do want to use some of the popular audio clips that are found on TikTok. So that's how people get found and you get shared. So I don't expect you to like pull out your whiteboard and start storyboarding all these different ideas, but really don't be afraid to go on TikTok and just start looking around at your competitors. Maybe it'll spark some ideas for your own promotion, maybe your own trending audio that you can add to it. Just go check it out, see what's out there and what would make sense for you. All right, moving on to LinkedIn. This is a platform I think a lot of businesses and individuals really love. I saw it a few times earlier during our pop quiz. I don't blame you. This is a really great platform for businesses. If you're trying to promote your business, many decision makers eventually end up on LinkedIn. So depending on your vertical, I know that makes a difference, but most of the time you're going to have somebody there. And then we know it's really good for just professionals in general. But you can also get some nice, like lean, mean targeting strategies on LinkedIn. So that's why I call out mastering your ad targeting on LinkedIn. It's one of those platforms that has a really intricate options as far as targeting that are really good for businesses. So you can really hone in and get to the exact type of person that you want. Try it out and make sure that you're just using personalized content because you can get so honed in. Make sure that that content is speaking to that specific user. Also, there's a differentiator that I think a lot of people get worried about is you can put a lot more content in your LinkedIn posts or ads than you can on other platforms. So we see longer form posts on LinkedIn, and people typically have more patience on LinkedIn. And if you think about it, they are scrolling on a desktop for the most part. It's for business people who are in the office and they're scrolling on a desktop versus being on their phone. So they have a little more time and a little more patience to read through those longer posts. Take advantage of that. That's an opportunity because other platforms are the exact opposite, like we just talked about. So there's a ton of room to get across a lot of information. So anything you feel like you haven't been able to convey elsewhere, that's where LinkedIn comes in. So even if you're not necessarily targeting professionals, I think this is still a good option because you can still use it to get your brand and your business out there. And that's when you start getting into the cross-channel marketing approach. So if your consumer does end up there, they're getting a really consistent experience. So we have this notion that you can get away with a long wall of text on LinkedIn because people have more patience and they allow you to do more. But just make sure that there's a photo to go along with it. It'll really help you stand out. Think about scrolling again, even if you're on a desktop, what makes you stop and look? And so it's a lot of photos or emojis. These are different approaches that you can use in order to stand out from all the other posts. All right, now we're on to Snapchat. It's a huge platform for a lot of businesses. And a lot of people just assume that its user base is really young, around 13 to 17. And while that is true, there are also a lot of 21 to 34-year-olds. So if you think about when Snap first came out, those users who started on Snap are now all grown up. They're those 21 to 34-year-olds, and now they're getting joined by a whole new crop of the younger generation. So make sure that you're looking at Snap a little bit more. Businesses can turn their nose up at it, and it doesn't make sense for everybody because of those demographics that we talked about, but there are a ton of ways that you can promote your business on Snapchat. You can use stories, you can use influencers like on TikTok. There's tons of different campaign goals on Snapchat ads. So if you want to test them out, you can see what's really maximizing your conversions. This is a really great place to sort of tinker and see what works. There's also some really good analytics, which again makes testing even better because there's reporting right in the Snapchat platform. You can take advantage of all that data because the more data you have, the better decisions you can make. All right, and finally, a lot of times when we talk about social media, people will bring up YouTube. So I wanted to do a special shout out, a special honorable mention for YouTube. Is YouTube a social media platform? That's kind of like when you ask someone if a tomato is a fruit. Yes, technically, by definition, a tomato is a fruit, but let's be honest, we're not eating it like a fruit. We're eating it like it's a vegetable. So is YouTube a social media platform? In a way, yes. In another way, it's a video advertising based platform as well. So it fits the technical definition, but how similar does that feel to you based on what you're putting out on your social platforms? That's just something that you have to evaluate for yourself. But I do want to talk about it because it does have some similarities to other socials, and it's a really important place to be for your business. So I don't want to go through a webinar about social media and not talk about it. So the reason why is because of the huge user base and then just the endless number of things that you can do on YouTube, like shorts, which are something that you should definitely be utilizing if you're not. So, and remember, if you are already creating TikToks or Reels, then you already have your YouTube short. Again, you want to work smarter, not harder. So create that varied content like with organic videos or video ads on Google, and then have them show up on YouTube. And you can do display ads that also show up on YouTube. There's just a lot of different options where you can throw in YouTube and reap those benefits. But building out the channel organically is an example of where I see businesses neglecting their presence on YouTube. It can really boost your business if you just take a few minutes, go to your channel page, and write out a really solid description. It's something that people overlook a lot. They set it up, they start uploading videos, but you really need to go in there and put in that description, build up that page. You can add all kinds of information about your business, and it works in the same way like an SEO fashion, because if you're feeling crazy, you can get in there and you can optimize for certain keywords that people would be searching for on Google, so that when they are searching, you're sure to show up and you can be on a search result page and it'll take you to their video, especially with the way that the Google search page now features videos so prominently and really gives you all these different options and ways to answer a question. So that's why I didn't want to neglect YouTube as a platform. Just keep it in mind. All right, up next, let's start our deep dive into Facebook. So we're going to start first with some best practices. Facebook advertising has been around since 2007. That's really hard to even imagine. So in that amount of time, we have seen Facebook ads evolve into just this $132 billion beast. And it still brings in the bulk of Meta's, their parent company, the ad revenue each year. So we have also seen Facebook's advertising arm expand to include a lot of different options. No more is it just the one ad option. They've got mobile ads, dynamic ads, carousel, and then with every update, businesses have had to learn new techniques, you know, because you probably felt the pain, to try to ensure that you reach the right customer and that you're maximizing whatever budget you're putting on. So as the platform continues to evolve, which we know it will, you want to take advantage of the new technology and you want to keep pace with your competitors. So that's why we're going to take a deep dive here. Let's take a closer look at some of the general best practices. Next, first up is something, it might feel a little counterintuitive, but new customers are not the only customers to focus on. Of course, you want to reach people who have not previously known about your business and you want to convert them to customers. We know that that's important. But it can be easy for people to forget about their previous customers who have interacted with the business before. They've had a really good experience. You spent all your blood, sweat, and tears getting their interest and getting them to become a customer. And sometimes the best opportunities are the ones that you have already created. So don't forget about the potential that you can earn business from existing customers by advertising to the people who are already familiar with your business, who you brought in the past, who've had a really good experience with you. And if you have already made a good impression, it may be easier to get them to convert. There's not as much to overcome. The decision's a lot easier for them. So that allows you to really rack up some easy wins while maybe you're earning the trust of an audience who is just being introduced to your business. Businesses in every industry need to explore upselling and cross-selling opportunities. It increases your customer lifetime value. It fosters repeat purchases, things like brand loyalty and brand advocacy. So it's a really easy win with like layers of potential. All right, next up, has your business gotten a lot of reviews? Maybe you've gotten some 5-star reviews, or maybe a customer left a really great review on a site. This is the kind of stuff that you want to either mention in some ad to encourage potential users to check out your business, or maybe you want to put it into your organic post. You can incorporate it into creative, such as images, or maybe you can use a customer testimonial video. All of this really builds trust, and it encourages the user to engage with the content. So it encourages them to click through and do what you want them to do, which is typically get to you and your business and what it is that you're trying to offer them. All right, and don't assume that people who see your ad are automatically going to know what to do next. And I know it's hard because you're so close to your business. It's easy to think that you're being really clear in your ad copy, but it's good to maybe have other people review that copy, someone who isn't so close to it, so they can see it from a different perspective. You want to give very clear and specific instructions. You want to reinforce the benefits of that person taking the action that you're recommending. So for example, you can have a very simple contact us, like in the example on the page, but you can expand on that too and say something like, browse our website to learn more information. So you're just confirming the action and further encouraging them to engage. All right, our next best practice is about brand consistency. We are all guilty of mindlessly scrolling past ads, even just on our feeds when we're zoning out after work. You know, you're sitting on the couch or you're multitasking and you're just scrolling, trying to forget about all the calls that you had that day. So that's not good for you guys if you're an advertiser. It's fine if you're a person and you just want to relax. But you need people to see your ads first before they can click or convert. So the solution is to keep the aesthetic of your images and videos consistent with your brand. So the example that ad here, you can see the small business logo mimics the other logo, the colors, the overall vibe, it all aligns with the business's existing look. So you know what that business is without having to read any of the words. Or I pulled a screenshot of Local IQ's Instagram grid. So you can see even though each post is different, they're all consistent in coloring or font or the way that images or icons are used. And so because of that, if a person has been exposed to your brand before, as they're scrolling, you get increased brand recall, you get better recognition, and all of that will kick in and maybe grab their attention before they move on. And then next, you want to test various images and copy. Even an ad that's performing well can always be improved. There's always room for improvement. So you want to be sure to A/B test variations of the same ad. While the targeting should remain the same for more accurate insights, you can tweak each variation so you can test a single change to maybe a copy or a visual. So that allows you to really pinpoint which aspects of the variance is actually improving performance. You can test out all of the various ad types, like on the Facebook ads platform, you can see the comparison, but then also something like transparent reporting. just being able to see who engaged with your ads and when, knowing how it works, that all kind of comes together when you're trying to test and establish what is giving you the most return. Then you want to develop custom benchmarks. So we have general resources like our industry benchmarks that you see here. We put out benchmarks every year for Facebook ads and for Google ads. And these are super helpful when you want to know what a normal performance is for a business within your industry. But you can take it one step further. And so once you have some ad campaigns under your belt, record your own averages. So then you can implement ads and record how they're typically performing. And then it's easier for you to judge the success of ads that you would run in the future and set optimization goals. So it's good to have both. You've got something general for your industry, so you know where you're tracking, but then you know what's normal for you. So when something is going out of the realm of normal, you'll be able to address it really quickly. All right, so next up is our Facebook ad tips. Let's dive in just a little bit more. All right, previously known as there were automatic placements, and then there was a lot of other different things that it's now known as, but the name now is Facebook's Advantage Plus. There's a lot of different ways that you can implement automation across a platform, specifically Facebook, to pinpoint an audience or to pinpoint a specific specific placement. So Facebook offers multiple ad types. It's kind of overwhelming when you're building your ad because as you click, it just keeps expanding for all these different options. So this allows you to be able to let technology figure out where your best placement is. And so Facebook has this option, but then there's also third-party technology. Like if you're a customer with local IQ and you're running smart ads, that's what our smart ad technology does, but it moves budget around between different objectives and different placements, and it does it based off of not just like Facebook's results for your business, but thousands of campaigns that we've run the same way. And then additional technology, like we have cross-media optimization technology. So we talked about earlier about those opportunities to show up in all these different areas. There's technology that helps you do that in a really smart way. It moves your budget, it moves the ads themselves so that you're where the most engagement is, but you're not having to sit in front of the computer and sort of turn those knobs on your own. All right, so another use of technology is tracking technology because it really helps you increase effectiveness. If you are not tracking either via pixels or a URL, then you're really missing out on ways to improve the delivery, being able to reconnect or retarget with maybe former visitors. This is how you are able to hone in on that precise targeting. So installing a pixel on your website is really vital for all of that. So Facebook has their meta pixel, and if you use it in conjunction with Google Tag Manager, you can start to track and see results and reporting and trends. But there's also things like, again, other third parties. There's Local IQ uses our capture code, and then there's also our customer center, which allows you to have insight into what's happening, not just within that platform or that ad, but across your marketing in general. And it's really helpful when you're thinking about your holistic marketing strategy and where you need to pivot, where you need to put budget. All right, so talking about cross-platform marketing, let's look at that a little bit more. So 30% of omni-channel shoppers, and really what that means is people who shop on all sorts of different areas. So I shop on Instagram, I shop on Amazon, I shop in store, that's omni-channel. 30% higher lifetime value than those who shop only using one channel, which means a company is likely to get more of my money over the lifetime of my patronage than if I only shopped in one way. So it's really, really important for you to utilize multiple marketing platforms, whether you're thinking about search or social display, like I said, traditional media. All of this sets you up for a full funnel strategy. So you can be in all of the places, no matter what decision point your customers are in. And then you can observe how people are interacting with your ads. You can see if they're doing it on desktop or tablets, smartphone, what that means. and then which platforms they're on. Are they using Facebook? Are they using Instagram? So you're going to want to look at what that tracking is available. Again, the Metapixel and Google Tag Manager are sort of BFFs for that. Local IQ uses our proprietary capture code in partnership with Customer Center, which also leverages AI to help you sort through all of those leads. So there's a lot of options available for you. All right, next up, you're going to want to test out Facebook's attribution settings. This is in the ad managers portion, and it's really just the time period. It's usually 1 to 7 days, but this is the time during which conversions can be credited to your ad, and then you can use that for your campaign optimization. So you can choose the attribution setting when you're creating the campaign, like what's available on the screen right there. So then Meta will note your ad delivery system, and it understands which one will improve performance by showing your ads to the people who are going to find it the most relevant. This is really great to just get deeper insights into which ads are truly driving the best results. Because if you're doing multiple ads in multiple places and multiple types, this lets you figure out what's working. And if you have a business where a customer tends to have a much longer research cycle before they make a purchase, think about like a big home purchase. Someone's going to research that for a while. I would consider a longer attribution window because you're going to want to know the life of that ad, how long it took them to interact with it, and then that gives you a much better picture of just the entire customer journey. All right, next up, you're going to want to implement story ads. So stories allow Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp users. You can share photos and videos, and they disappear within 24 hours unless they're saved. And this is a really popular format. There are about 1 billion stories shared every single day. I love to do stories. It's too much pressure to try to figure out what's going to go on my main feed. So story ads, these are full screen images, videos, or carousels. And so you can see the difference on the slide here. You can see the difference in what a feed ad looks like versus a stories ad. And so the Instagram stories example there looks very similar to how a Facebook one looks. So you can use this as an additional inventory. It's great for really engaging consumable content because it shows up full screen, it's vertical, and obviously it's automatically going to be mobile optimized. It's really good for increasing brand awareness for word of mouth. All right, add polls to your video ads. This is just a new, fun, interactive way to get more engagement. So this allows you to integrate, it's a 2-answer poll into a video ad within Meta Ads Manager. It's just a neat ad type, again, something else to test out, something interesting and different. These will appear on the Facebook feed and in Instagram stories. So an example of when this is useful is you can ask questions that you want to get something instantly, you want to get your answers instantly. So you're creating this 2-way conversation. It'll really help you understand what your customers are interested in if you're trying to decide between products or services. And then you can build much stronger relationships because you're listening to that feedback and what they're saying to you. All right, and then lastly, Facebook uses multiple media types like images and videos, and then ad components like images, video, text, audio, all of these different things. And then it uses something called Dynamic Creative Tool or flexible ad formats, and it merges them together to mix and match to improve your performance. So you can even automatically create variations for each person who sees your ad. This is dynamic creative. It'll build a number of ad combinations to top performers. So that means that relevant content is getting to the top performers when it needs to be served to them. And then you can sort of test engagement through A/B testing. This is a cool option, but just remember it is not available for the sales or app promotion objectives. So that's where flexible ad formats come in handy, and you'll get a similar result. Flexible ad formats allow you to submit up to 10 images or videos for a single ad, and then Facebook creates the ads in various specs and placements, including a carousel version. So Meta's ad delivery system will then determine which format to show to get the best response based on that placement and that audience. Primary benefit here is just more automation, less effort on your part. All right, whew, that was a lot. So let's wrap it up. Let's put it in some summary forms. So how are you going to get more leads from your social posts and ads? First, you got to be patient. So with both paid and organic social media, it takes time and it takes some TLC. We talked about watching and observing, and we talked about all of these different things that you can do and testing, and that usually takes time. So just take a beat, be patient, get some good reporting and tracking, and then you'll be able to see what's working. And really just know you're not alone. There are online tools and platforms that can help you with all of this. They are directly within Facebook or any of these other platforms. And then there are companies like Local IQ who have really talented people and really complex technology that can take a huge load off of you without having to worry about that kind of stuff. And then just remember to be flexible. Social is constantly evolving. Every time you open your app, there's a new setting or a new feature, a new algorithm change. So just be flexible, switch up your strategy as the platform switches up, and then you'll be fine. Just keep testing and tracking. All right, so what we'll do now is this sort of transitions us into the audio only version of the presentation, because what we're gonna do now is go into our Q&A, but what you see in front of you is a poll. Because if you heard some information today and you wanna talk about some really specific things about your business, and you wanna understand through an assessment of your specific business what you can do to grow, just click yes on that poll that's in front of you. Again, it'll stay up for the duration of our Q&A, and you'll hear our voices, but just click yes if you want to speak to someone. And so what I want you to do now is go to that question box and add in any questions that you have. We had a lot of content, so we have just a little bit of time left for questions, but I want to get to anything that you have. If there's anything that sparked your interest, any particular platform or strategy that needs to be utilized, feel free to put that in there. And again, if you want to just sit back and relax, if you have answered the poll, that's why we'll enter into this sort of like audio portion. So enter into the question box. I see a ton of things coming through of questions around how to implement this, where to start. Someone just asked, what is the best platform to go with? We spent a lot of time on Facebook, but we covered a lot of platforms. And this is the answer that probably everyone wants to roll their eyes with. There is no one option. There is no one perfect solution. There is no one perfect platform. And the best option is to utilize a mix. That's across social or search, any of the advertising options that you're doing, because each one represents a different way to engage your audience and a way to get in front of people. And so don't just stick with one. That's not how you're going to get the most engagement and the most return. Just be smart about it. Use the resources that we've given you, use the information, and start testing and figure out how you would be able to utilize that. And someone asked how to do that. How do you start integrating these 3 or more platforms? It can be a lot. It's really overwhelming. I think there's a lot of third-party tools that allow you to do that. I think you can start with some of the more popular ones where you know you have a lot of audience there. Start, again, think about your business. Do you have really high engagement with your organic? Then go ahead and focus on ads. Also repurpose a lot of your material. We talked earlier about if you're doing reels, you can easily add on YouTube, and that's another platform that you're putting into your belt to reach users. And then I think it just goes back to that power of tracking. You want to be able to have a reporting system that aggregates all that information so you can see it in one view and make a good business decision. You don't want to make a good Facebook decision. You want to make a good overall business decision. And so that's why transparent, easy to access reporting, like through Customer Center, is where it's going to be so valuable. Any thoughts on Threads? Threads fits into one of those other categories. I think it's a really great emerging platform to look at. I know that it's being heavily promoted within Instagram. People are there. People are using it. I think it's one of those ways where you can maybe devote a little budget, test out a couple of things, see what the engagement is. And because the setup is so similar to that of X, you can repurpose a lot of material with very little effort. All right, let's see what else we have going on. All right, so we have some problems with maybe low engagement, working on Facebook, and just having issues in general. So for one, we have a blog post on wordstream.com about how to get help at Facebook. And so if you go to WordStream and search for that, if you need to speak to someone at Facebook, there's some options on maybe how to do that and troubleshoot yourself. And then I think the next best thing, if you're having issues with low engagement and just not being able to get that organic back and forth with your users, I would look at doing some boosted posts or some ads, go into people's stories, because those are usually at the top of people's phones whenever they're opening the apps, and get people to go to your page, interact with your business. If you're having trouble with your Facebook page, get them to your website. You can still sort of build up that user base, and then the organic engagement, if you continue to be faithful to your content, that'll just continue to grow over time. Again, be patient. It's a bit of a long game, especially with organic. All right, there are so many questions. I see so many still coming through, but we are at the end of our time today. I appreciate everyone being so patient with us up front while we were getting our slides figured out. And I really appreciate everyone and their time today. Again, if you would like to have a one-on-one session specific for your business, click yes to the poll that's on your screen, and we'll have one of our experts reach out to you. And we hope to see you again next time. Thank you.